Good evening. Road safety campaigners say they're shocked that a trial of rentable e-scooters in Birmingham has been extended into next year. The National Federation of the Blind say they want it scrapped amid safety concerns, and they're petitioning Number 10.
Well, those behind the trial say the whole point is to iron out safety issues, and we must explore new technology as the clock counts down to the banning of conventional cars. Well, with that in mind, Warwick University hosted an event today to showcase how the Midlands is leading the way in electric transport. Wesley Smith can tell us more.
Sarah Gayton and Sarah Ledbetter say they're appalled the trial of e-scooters has been extended. You must have a driving licence to ride one of these rentable e-scooters on trial in Birmingham. Privately owned e-scooters are banned from public roads. But they claim the rules are all too often ignored and they want them off the streets.
For somebody that's visually impaired with a guide dog or using a white cane, they're lying on the pavement, they're riding towards us, and they're just like scary for us to lose. We don't want to go out because it's stopping our independence.
The pavement has been allowed to park e-scooters on. That's clutter and a trip hazard for anybody that is visually impaired or is blind, or for any vulnerable pedestrian that needs to have access to that space.
However, the drive for electric vehicles is gaining pace, with sales of petrol and diesel cars to stop in 2030. The West Midlands cycle hire scheme is also being extended to e-bikes from December, and the West Midlands Mayor says he supports extending the e-scooter trial.
Yeah, there's been a really good dialogue, for example, with the Royal Institute for the Blind. So we're thinking obviously about improving the docking stations so they're not just left as obstacles on the streets. And most importantly, it's all controlled by the GPS, so it's in a restricted area, you can't get out of that. And if you don't do it properly, you will get a message from the company that run it, and ultimately you'll be banned from using it. So we're taking those questions of safety in the trial incredibly seriously.
There have been some teething problems, there's no doubt about that, but I think we're working towards a future whereby the legislation will make them as safe and as easy to use as possible for all people, for pedestrians and of course vehicle users themselves.
Richard Adey is a responsible e-scooter rider seen here on private land at Warwick University. His company is focused on research and development, but says we're lagging behind other countries when it comes to legislation.
Yeah, it's not really fallen our way, and I noticed in the last Queen's speech it's still not going to be in this term of Parliament. But we chose to do it because ultimately 95% of scooters will be owned and they need to be safe on public roads. And we looked at that and decided to start from scratch, because all the other scooters you see are basically kids' kick scooters with a battery and a motor on them. And we said, well, if you don't do that and you're building a scooter for ownership, what do you need? You need big pneumatic wheels, which give you good grip and good traction. You want a good rider stance, which is looking forwards, and you want good lighting.
Richard was one of a number of innovative exhibitors at WMG, the centre which helps to develop electric and autonomous vehicles at the university. Each business here is focused on micromobility, that is, short-distance vehicles to dissuade us from using our cars for short journeys.
Coventry, you could say, is an example of a place that's sort of very well designed for the car. But actually what that means is you've got a lot of space already dedicated to moving people and goods around. So really looking at redesignating that space, perhaps one-way systems that give one lane to cars and vans, and then a whole lane is available for 2 or 3 lanes for micromobility. So it can be a blessing if you're willing to sort of take big steps to redesignate that space.
One father and son company here identified how short-distance electric vehicles are being used extensively in Japan by food delivery companies, and they have a solution to one of the concerns raised by safety campaigners.
You can have a sound generator which you can switch on so that it makes, in this case, a sound similar to a petrol moped. It does have the benefit, therefore, that people can hear it coming, even though it's normally more or less silent.
And if you need a taxi ride within the ring road in Coventry, there's already an E option. For just £4.50, you could ride on one of these. Proving very much how the Midlands is now very much at the heart of e-technology.
We have a massive number of apprentices here at WMG learning the skills of batterification, of electrification, so that for the future we want the jobs and manufacturing that go alongside as the fruits of these scientific advances to be here in the Midlands.
The Birmingham e-scooter trial is now extended to March of next year and possibly beyond. Campaigners like Sarah Ledbetter and Sarah Gayton aren't happy and say they'll do all they can to ensure it's safety first all the way. Wesley Smith, ITV News.